All right, we're live. Yo, what up, Coach?
Yo, good morning.
All right, so we're live. I'm actually in our Canton area spot, just dropping some stuff off for the construction and hauling around. I see you're at the gym,
Metro headquarters,
so
Metro Jiu-Jitsu, 13555 Eureka.
sweet. So we're gonna get right into this because we got quite a few questions to pound through. First one is high. What are the highs in jiu-jitsu? The good highs. Can you explain that? I think this is your question. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, so like when you hear the word high, like what do you think? If somebody says, "Man, I feel high,"
I think they're on. I think they're popping mollies.
they're on something, right? So yeah, one of the if you train jujitsu and you your training partners, your teammates, or whatnot, it's pretty common that you look at one of your training partners or teammates, and you're like, man, this guy's like, uh, he's he's in a happy place, and that's one of the things that jujitsu and just exercise in general brings out is like a very, very uh, what's the word? Gosh, it puts you in a happy place.
Well, there's a
So
lot of there's a lot of science behind that. I mean, you release the endorphins. The movement alone, like when people are in a depression and things, like a good therapist will recommend like you need to get your ass out of the house. Like you need to move, right? Like you need to actually start doing something because that will begin the process of things like that. So that that's just given. I mean, the benefits of exercising in general, even a little bit, like a 20-minute walk. We'll do
yeah,
something. Those are big. Those are really big.
yeah.
How's it different than another sport though?
I was at I used to go to these seminars for many going back like 20, 30 years, and I started noticing a pattern of the more money that I paid for a seminar, whether it be a business seminar, educational seminar, nutritional seminar. It's funny, the more money I paid, the more often that throughout the seminar we were taking controlled short small breaks where they would have us moving around. Like they would have us engaging while we're learning the material, like making it a point that whatever activity that we're doing it like standing up, moving around, going from one spot to another. And so the movement, I think they said, uh, uh, energy goes where motion flows or something. But yeah, just the act of moving your body around is stimulates like energy, and it helps like creativity. And obviously Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're doing a lot of moving, and you're essentially in the educational learning seminar, but you're doing it physically while you're moving around and choking people and doing flips and rolls and stuff like that. So yeah, like uh, that high that I'm talking about, as one of my questions, or actually, if you don't train jujitsu, you wouldn't know, is just to kind of give people a perspective of what does it look like when somebody is on a high from jujitsu. And if you've ever seen somebody like their face is glowing, they have like a cheerful look on their face, and people are like they have a pleasant look. What is that face called that Amy used to say? She arresting. Uh,
Uh, well, arresting bitch face. Like, like,
Yes.
yeah,
So
they're not going to have that. They're probably not going to have that in class. They might have it walking in. They might have it.
yeah, so it would be the opposite of that. It's like um, it's a very not attractive. It's a look that you kind of want to go see what's going on. Like, whoa, what is he so happy about? Or like, what's going on with him, or what's going on with her? So um, it's a magnetic type of look that people have when they train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's really cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's really common. I was talking with Sawula. He was covering takedown classes on Thursdays, and I mean, Sawula's got about as much stress as like a human's gonna get of any human you're gonna meet probably. And he was coming in stressed, and he was just coaching. And he's like, dude, like I want to thank you guys. In the class, he was talking to the team. He's like, I want to thank you guys. I was just bugging through the day, stressing out, tripping on the phones. People could tell. And then he's like, now it's gone, and he just coached. Like he just got the like he was just coaching the class, covering
Yeah.
through that. And he was just coaching at that point. He wasn't even like fully live sparring. I will say some of the best energy that we get is those Thursday classes. Those are really difficult. And 6 a.m.s, man, zombies. Like we've got a crew. Like they'll do it's like a 75 minutes, maybe 70 minutes, and they're sparring for 60 of it. Right? They're sparring for 60 of it, and I mean that's a good room to be in. That's a good room to be in because everyone's like kind of there for the same purpose. And there's really no downtime. Like you'll literally like the clock, the schedule set ahead of time. They all know what it is, and then it's like you'll get left behind. So it's everyone's hurrying to they have their own agenda, but they're getting their own training in, and that's really common. I mean, you see that really really common. You see
Yeah,
that.
you hear the word like funny, entertaining, and like the word cheerful. You know, happy and cheerful. I would say more cheerful. You run into a lot of cheerful people in jujitsu, and that's what training brings out of. Like you could just look at somebody and they have this look of like, man, you know, they either got some good news or they're happy or they're content or they're fulfilled. And that essentially is that's a it's very very common to be around people that are like uh, that you feel a good type of energy from, and when you start talking to them, it's like it's really fun to be around.
Well, and when you compare that to the general public, right? Like a lot of people, your environment and who you're around makes a difference.
Yeah.
I'm a heavy protector of who I'm around, who I speak to, who I even let text me. Like if you people, I guess you're welcome to text me whatever you want, but like I'm under no obligation to respond or engage in an interaction. Um, and a lot of people are finding reasons to just bitch, like about anything, right? They can complain about the economy, they can complain about world affairs, they can complain about, and people don't want to hear it. Like if you don't have an action plan, what like I'm not your therapist, dude. Like I'm not your therapist. Like I might hear it out for like a minute, but I'm not here to like handle that. In jiu-jitsu, everyone's there for like the same purpose, the same, and they may all have opinions or viewpoints on that, but like they're not talking about that. They're very there, and they're there for the purpose that they're there. And the community, everyone cares. I think that goes to it. I was talking with Coach Sam about this. Like when a human being, when you get caught, you get tapped, you get whatever. Like that human at that point in time had the ability to take your life. I mean, they did. They chose not to. So there's like immediate trust built there. Immediate trust built there. I also, yeah, I think it's Sanchi or who's his who's his I can't think of his name at the moment.
Brother.
No, not his brother. His or not Ronaldo, Lavato. They're big on like
Yeah.
the physical touch, and I just think it like actual like the transfer of energy from like touching, and you get like, whatever. Like if you're not into that, then you're kind of missing out of that a little bit, as opposed to like a sport where let's say baseball. There's not a whole lot of actual touching. Jiu-jitsu is very physical, skin to skin, cheek to cheek, forehead to forehead. Same with wrestling, very very similar to that, and that those are all like I think that's a huge point to it. I think it's because it's so vastly different to the people that you meet in your everyday life. At least that I see. What's your take on it?
Yeah, jujitsu is very physical. It's definitely hands on. So it's definitely hands on. If you don't, if you're not a hands on type person, if you'd rather read it than actually do it with your own hands, jujitsu is definitely not for you.
So we've got, let's see, we got another. What is this? I don't understand this one. White belt confidence.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think was
Oh,
that supposed to
that's
say ignorance or no?
no confidence.
White
Yeah,
belt.
confidence.
All right. Oh, false confidence. All right. What's the topic here?
Yeah, white belt confidence. So look, we got to keep it real. Like we're here to promote Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? And we want to bring awareness to it. We've had other local gym owners on. We've had venue directors, tournament directors. We've had world champions on. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're located. Like we really want to grow jiu-jitsu because we know the benefits of it. So white belt confidence. I was thinking the other day, and one of the biggest times of like growth physically and mentally, like where you get stronger, not just the physical, you get more focused, you get more disciplined, and it comes within like just a few months after training. And it doesn't take a lot of training to kind of feel that you're getting like you're starting to turn into a different person. You're starting to turn into a person that the person that you want to be. Everybody has different goals. Everybody interacts with different type of people at home, at work, and things like that. But after just a few months of training, as instructors, myself personally, one of my favorite times to see people is within their first, like probably 3 to 6 months of training. Like, they can't believe at how much they've changed, at how much better they feel, and how much more confident they feel. And what I hear often after interviewing, probably hundreds of people, up until now, is that their friends and their family, everybody's seeing a big difference in them. And you know, uh, these are the people who came in and they were literally afraid to like they did not believe that they could defend themselves in a altercation. They did not believe that they had the emotional posture to deal with like challenges at work and at home and things like that. And now you see them come in and like, their posture is better. They're more focused. They're more confident. And, the white belt confidence is probably one of my favorite things to see because they realize, oh my gosh, this is real and it's happening to me. I feel like a different person already. You could probably quote that, and that's one of the most common things I hear about people starting jiu-jitsu. I feel like a different person already, and only after a few months. And I think we even have some testimonials about how people have changed and how they feel after training. And it's not even specific to like, it doesn't have to be Metro. If you start training jiu-jitsu after a few months, like you literally turn into a different person. You literally snap out of that depression. You feel more confident socially. you feel like you're in a better place. You feel like you don't have to please or appease people around you, and you start to get comfortable in your own skin. And that's what I call white belt confidence. Have you seen anything like that?
I mean, I see like, yeah, I mean, they get, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's so much. I guess they would feel more confident um, in themselves as a human, not in their necessarily their skills in jujitsu. You know, like when we talk to people, they're like, you know, how much is it monthly? How much is it per class? And I'm like, you're asking the wrong questions, dog. Like legit, like to explain to somebody that like in 6 months you can train something regularly for 6 months and suck, it's like, you know, goes over their head because anything else, like you're gonna get, um, you're gonna be able to see pretty substantial growth. And depending on the field or the niche, like you could be pretty competent in something in 6 months. It's just not the case in wrestling and jujitsu and grappling in general. It's just not going to happen like that. So, but the confidence that said, you can suck at something and still really enjoy it. In fact, most people who do, like, that's a running joke of like, yeah, one day I hope to be good at jujitsu one day. You know, like I want to get better at it, but you can. I think that's just their confidence as because they're doing something difficult. They're doing something difficult, and a large portion. I mean, I was thinking on this the other day. A good portion of society is designed to just like make your life comfortable. I think it's a good, really good part of like a lot of the problems today, right? Like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, I could plan ahead and like make my own coffee or my own meals, but you know, I'm gonna have someone do it for me. I I don't even need to go get my own groceries anymore. And mind you, I hate going grocery shopping mainly because of the people in the store. But like I can just have everything done for me, right? And I was thinking this used to be like a lifestyle of like monarchs, like to have effectively like, you know, slaves and servants do all these things for you. Well, now you can just pay other
Yeah.
people to do them as that service. I think it goes back to like they're doing something really difficult and they know it and they can feel it, and it's so difficult that most of the population, as soon as you mention it, they've got a pre-programmed excuse or story in their head that they say, "Ah, oh, that's a young guy stuff. Ah, oh, I had this injury back in high school. Ah, oh, well, I don't, you know," and they won't even consider it. I mean, the vast
Yeah.
majority. I think it's less than 1% of the population even trains. You know, let
You
alone
know,
of that, you know, get any substantial rank.
here, I'll give you a good one. If you want to know what it's like what happens when you train jujitsu. All right. And this, some of the topics that we're talking about today is like what are the benefits? What do you feel? And we're always trying to communicate that. So imagine this. Imagine you're invited to this like big function. Let's call it a wedding or something. All right. Everybody's been to a wedding and you walk into the wedding and it's like, oh my God, I don't know anybody here. And you're walking in and you're looking around and you're like, you almost don't know if you're in the right spot. You don't know anybody to the left, you don't know anybody to the right. You're walking and you're kind of like you're almost lost. I mean, we've all been to a function where that's happened to us. So white belt confidence is you walk into that wedding, whether by yourself or with somebody else, and everybody else is a stranger and you're the only one who belongs there. And it doesn't matter who you know, where you're at, you're walking in with like confidence, and people want to come up to you to see who you are versus you're walking in and looking for somebody to save you from all these foreign people. And white belt confidence, I've seen it hundreds of times, is you walk into that room, you walk into that venue, and you have a presence to you and a confidence where you don't need to be saved by anybody. And people are starting to look at you and say, who is that? Do I know him? Can I go up to him? They're looking at you to say there's something about him, and give me a reason to go up to introduce myself to him or find out, oh, are you here for this person or that person? And white belt confidence gives you the ability to walk into a wedding, a function, and you are not the stranger. Everybody else is, and everybody else is hiding in the bushes or in a table, and you're the one walking through the jungle with all the confidence in the world. So that's some of the like the benefits that come with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you know, you're not like, you're not trying to hide or be saved. You are the savior.
I've definitely seen the I've seen the confidence you're talking about, just not at white belt. I mean, not to say like the people who people who have
Bro,
that
you've been
are,
training you've been training 15, 20 years, so you're way, way ahead of them.
yeah, no, I was gonna say like I've seen it for sure, but it's usually like the guys who train more, you know. And I'll also add it's like if you see guys who train a lot, like they've been training for a minute, they're like annoyed by the rest of the population. I know generally speaking, like I am like if I'm going somewhere and like we show one of our summer programs is run out of a church and they like play pickleball and I'm like in the same venue they have like women's cardio drumming like it's chicks like literally hitting a medicine ball like man I think it's good. I think movement is good. But like
Bro, pickleball is cool.
no it's
I
not.
think pickleball is cool.
No,
Yeah, I
it,
think it's cool.
okay. I like I'm not like it would be cool. All right, so pickleball would be cool if I'm like like at a resort and like it's like, hey, you want to play pickleball? Yeah, I'll play a round of pickleball. I'll play pickleball for the week. I'm not gonna like join a pickleball league and be. And then there's also a direct correlation because here's the funny part. There's also a direct correlation to like the people who like play pickleball. Like they're take note of how many people take it really seriously. Like your athletic prowess is coming out through pickleball. You know, that to me, like I think a lot of these guys not they'll just be kind of annoyed with it. It's like, dude, I cannot wait to get back to like a real sport, like
Oh my
something
God.
like jujitsu. I just
Bro,
can't wait to. I
you're
can't
a
wait to get back on
pickleball
that.
hater.
Say it again.
I said you're a pickleball hater.
I think pickle. I think it's just in the fact that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America says a lot about the physical state of the nation. I think that there was a time when like we met a lady at Crescent Academy. We did that booth event. Abu Dhabi, the national sport is jiu-jitsu. Like
Yeah,
I'd consider
that's
moving there.
cool.
Like that
Yeah.
is that's a nation I want to be a part of, right? Like let's make America. I'd even be on board. You make American wrestling the national sport of America, right? But
Yeah.
instead we got the fastest growing sport of pickleball. I don't know. I think so. I think that annoyance of like, and I see it a lot. They're just they're really chill. They're very mild. A lot of black, a lot of brown black belts. They're very very low key chill, and and yeah, and so
Well, just
when they go into that, it's almost like this. Yeah, I'm here, but dude, I'd rather be somewhere else. Like that. Like so,
yeah.
and maybe that's how that confidence comes off. I've seen it, just not so much at white belt is what I was getting at.
Oh man, that's I enjoy seeing it at the lower belt ranks so often because that is the entry and the first step into like this new world of what is possible. White belt confidence after like 3 to 6 months of training, that is the first step of what could become and this whole new world that's waiting for you. And you've taken the first couple steps, you started training, you're feeling so much better, and you're not a stranger, and you're starting to feel better in your own skin. And now it's like, okay, I got the jitters out. What is it that I need to do? What do I need to do today? What's my plan for this week, for this month, as far as training goes? And yeah, it is the first step, but white belt confidence is where the doors open. You realize, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be safe. Everybody here is pretty cool. And so let me roll up my sleeves and get started. So that is the first step. And, we see it quite often. I think for me, it's like one of my favorite things to see. I was talking to somebody who started training like 3 to 6 months ago. His name is Eric. Um, he's a beginner. He's a white belt, and he was telling me that he said, I've been training a few months and I'm feeling better. And he just had this, glowing look on his face. And he said, it's really interesting because the kid's in shape. Like he's really good shape. He's like, it's funny because now when I go in the street and I talk to people and I realize what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is and like physically what you could do to somebody, how you could defend yourself and like size doesn't mean anything. I look at everybody in the street so much differently because you never know who knows what. And in here there's guys half of his size that like literally could, snap his arm, leg, choke him and tap him out really quickly. Now when he's in the street, he's much more calm. And because he's a bigger guy, that doesn't, it doesn't matter anymore. Because you're bigger, because you're in shape, because you're faster, it doesn't mean anything when you understand that if you have some secret weapons like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, um, uh, it doesn't matter what size you are. You could essentially, uh, take defend yourself against a much, much bigger opponent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that for sure. There's a mutual respect that comes. Like, yeah, there's a mutual respect that comes um, with that. 100%. And I thought you were going the other direction with it. He's like, size doesn't matter. Like, I can take anyone. I was like, dude, no, no, man. Like, I'm not. Yeah, Amanda and I play this game of like, what rank are they? And so if you see people out in public, like you'll see like, some hipster downtown on a scooter with a flannel shirt, and she's like, he's minimum a purple belt. Like minimum, he's a purple belt. Just this really nerdy dude. Going out downtown riding around, or like guys who, because they kind of tend to get a look. What? So let's piggyback off this then. Why do people quit so quick? So like, I mean, why do people quit after blue?
It's funny you say that because I was talking to Eric and another member yesterday, and we were talking about like the beginner jujitsu, who knows what, and you never know what kind of skills people have. And from my experience, is that the people who don't quit are not the decorated athlete, the decorated high school athlete. I don't want to call the like the lifelong wrestler, the lifelong athlete. I don't want to call them an anomaly, but in my opinion, more often the people who don't quit are the ones who realize I wouldn't say more often, I'd say it's very common. The people who don't have like a strong base in like sports, athletics, competitiveness. Once they realize that, okay, jujitsu works, and I'm learning a few things, and I don't really have a foundation of like this guy wrestled all through high school, that guy played football, or they have a base in competitive sports or whatever. They realize from the instructors there's a intellectual portion of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where you're essentially uh, you're learning with your mind, not your physical body. They come together, but those people realize I really have to put my thought into this and understand it. And those people, there's more of those people than like the decorated athlete in jiu-jitsu than you might think. So why they quit? I think a lot of people quit because they realize that you got to merge the mind and you have to merge the body. You can't have one without the other. You could be tough as nails, very strong and physical, but if you refuse to use your brain and think about what you're doing and incorporate your mind while you're moving, then you're missing a big piece in jiu-jitsu, and vice versa. If you're like a nerd and a brain but you refuse to move, then you're never going to get anything going. So in my opinion, it's because they're lacking one or the other, and more often, I would say they're lacking the. It's not the physical they're lacking; they're more lacking the brain activity. like the thought process behind jiu-jitsu and becoming like training to learn versus training just to get stronger or better. There's a difference.
Yeah,
How about you? What do you think?
I don't know. I think there's several reasons. I think it could be a matter of they don't, come into a room where you get smashed every week. That could weigh on you. There could be just a physical limitation of being sore. I think that could be one. Uh, I also think there is a level of, especially in a lot of, there's a level of monotony, like you come and doing the same thing, over and over, like lack of growth, which is, the like the spontaneity of like I'm going to memorize these moves. That's I think that monotony could play a part of it. Depending on the school, the team could be a big reason, which is why we're so protective of our culture. I think that's a big portion of it. I have and will, we have and will kick people out if they're just a bad fit for the culture. If they're trying to injure people, if their sole
Yeah.
purpose there is to like lay as many members as you can, like that. Like that's just is. We're here for jujitsu to build each other up, and really no other reason. Like that's that could be a portion of it. How did you were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say I went to a Tigers game, and this had me thinking about what you said. I went to a
All
Tigers
right.
game a couple years ago, and I was just a couple rows back from Justin Verlander, the pitcher,
Okay.
and I saw him warm up, and he was literally like, I'm not exaggerating to you, no more than like, no more than like under 10 feet away from his partner, and he was throwing the ball to the partner, and it was like he could have flicked it 10 feet. And I'm watching them, and he's just throwing the ball, and it's a half a motion on the shoulder, like it, he barely moved his arm, and he's throwing it back and forth. And then after about a couple minutes, it looked like it was a waste of time, bro. I kid you not. After a couple minutes, they both moved back, and it's still like, a toddler could throw it that far. Like little Landon could have threw the ball just as far as they were away from each other. And then they were throwing it a little bit more and further and further. Then they got to about, I don't know, 20 feet, and it's still like you could see they're still warming up the shoulder. This guy is, I don't know if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame or where he's going to end up, but uh, the monotony of doing the same thing again and again and again is for a reason. And the people who've done it before you, the successful people who've done it before you, essentially lay out a very clear path that sometimes isn't exciting. And I think some of the people who always want something new forget about like basics and fundamentals and the things that you need to know. And that's one of the reasons why, like, man, I already did this already, you know um, and that's some of the reasons why people quit any like activities, because once you get to a certain point, you have to do some of the same fundamentals, because everything builds off of that. And just to see him warm up with like a half a throw is like, how he did it was really really cool.
They
And to your point,
what was that?
yeah, just to your point, some people refuse to do uh, the refuse to get do the fundamentals and the basics like again and again, incorporate part of their like their everyday ritual in sports and activities.
A good follow that I like a lot is Mike, Mindset Mike. Talks. He's actually where I got my warm up routine for competition. He's a really good follow for like pregame rituals and things like that. I mean, he has people who've worked with him have upset a lot, and the warm up, just the warm up alone, when you're going into competition, like having like you've got a 45-minute warm up routine, kind of gets you into like that playing the tape mindset. I think that's a really valuable thing if we're talking about competition. But if we're talking about why people quit, dude, I don't know. I don't really know. I think I mean, I can tell you why we've had people. I don't know, but you can't speak for generalities. I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, my work schedule," right? I had a guy at that event we were doing. I had a guy at that event we were doing. He legit looked me in the face, and I was like, "Yeah, we got to train 2 days a week." He's like, "Oh, that's impossible." I was like, "What?" I laughed at him. I was like, "What? Did you say it's impossible?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a single dad and I have kids." I'm like, I was just not in the mood. I was like, "So do you believe that you make time for things that are important?" Well, yeah, but it's weekends, and I said, "Dude, I don't know what to tell." I said, "We got 12 classes a week right now. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you can't make one of those, your priorities are out of whack. Period. Like, period. I don't want to hear it." And like, I've got people with way bigger hurdles than your 3 middle school aged kids. If you got 3 brand new born triplets that you're handling yourself, okay, a little bit different story, right? And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And so that's people blame it on time. People blame it on budget, which is the worst excuse because again, you'll make time for things that are important to you. People blame it. I've had people like quit because of Coach David. Well, I don't like that, of my personal beliefs. And I know for a fact we've had people quit because of Coach Muhammad because of your personal beliefs, which is, again, but here's the thing, and here's my beef with those guys. You didn't go train somewhere else. It's not like I don't like the coach, so I'm going to go find a new one. You quit jujitsu entirely. So
Yeah.
if that was truly your reason, why aren't you training somewhere else? I don't know. Food for thought on that, right? Like if you're like, I love jujitsu, but Coach David's a dick. Yeah, okay. Well, but you're not training somewhere else. So it's not the instructor. There's another story you're telling yourself. People also quit. I've had people, dude. For sure we've had people quit because they didn't get promoted in a timely manner that they thought. I mean, that's a really common one. What's the deal? What's the deal with
Yeah.
that? They didn't get the status of that. So I think that white, maybe your white belt confidence, what you're seeing is white belt ego, because the ego plays a part of that. What are your thoughts on that? Let's talk about belt promotions. I had a long conversation with Coach Mark about this yesterday.
Uh, yeah. Belt promotions, man. That's a whole nother world. Um, it's the instructor's job to make sure that the student athlete is progressing. In that progression, could mean I'm going to start at the bottom of the list, how you perform in competition. Because many people won't compete or never compete. But um, another one is uh, how your technical knowledge of, forget about application with another partner, how your your technical knowledge is with another partner and how well you could perform the moves. And these are at the bottom of the list, right? How well you could do a move against a resisting opponent, how well you're going to do in matches. And moving up the list, like with no resistance, how well you could show a specific moves in jiu-jitsu. And if you move up the list, I think that for me, you have to be able to perform the moves on a non-resisting opponent, and that all comes from like essentially drilling the moves, learning the techniques from the instructor, and I think like a lot of people quit because they pick and choose. Well, I happen to be good at competition, or I did good against this person, and I beat this person, or I won my match, or I took this person down, but they can't explain how they've done it. They can't explain exactly what happened. So you're getting a promotion for something that you can't tell us what you did, and it doesn't work that way. You have to understand what you did, how you did it, and how it happened. If you can't do that, that's a big portion of getting promoted. And So, what do you think?
I think if you're going to quit jiu-jitsu because you didn't get a belt, um, then you don't deserve jiu-jitsu. It's as simple as that. I think you're too immature for the sport. It's as simple as that.
Well,
I've been very vocal about this.
well, David, like the act of training jujitsu, it's very like it's personal. It's very like emotional, man, because you put
Sure.
your heart and you put your sweat into it, and it's like it's not an easy thing to do. And I can see how people quit. I don't agree with them, and I don't. I think it's a big mistake to quit jujitsu. But for people quitting after they don't, for whatever reason, they don't think that they were treated fairly or justly. And I think this happens at like all schools across the country and over the world. Uh, I think that, they and anybody starting jujitsu has to remember that you come to a place and to learn, and you give the instructor and the facility the permission to grade you according to their scale. You have to trust them to say you're growing, but we need a little bit more here. You're doing better, but we need a little bit more here. That's like going to in high school or college. You tell the instructor, "Well, I think I'm doing good, so I deserve an A. I think I'm doing good, so you need to pass me in this class." Like in my opinion, you're the professor, but at this university, I think I need to go to the next level. So that's me. And with little or no experience, you can't walk into a university and say, "Look, I'm doing good. I'm smarter than that guy, so I need to pass this class and go to the next level." And life doesn't work that way.
I mean, if you quit jujitsu because you didn't get a belt, you are in it for the wrong reason. You have a selfish motive with it. You care more about status than you do getting better at the art. And if anything, it's further validation of like supporting that you weren't worthy of the belt that you didn't get. Depending on I mean blue, fine. It's a beginner belt. Like blue belt's fine. But if you're gonna throw a temper tantrum, we've seen this happen in our locker room, dude. If you're gonna throw a temper tantrum because you other people, your other teammates, it's promotion day, right? We do promotions like your teammates got promoted, you didn't, and you're gonna throw a hissy fit. Do you know how many people I saw get belts, become blue belt after me, and earn their purple belt before me? Like it got to the point to where like our teammates would come up to me after promotions, be like, "Hey, dude, you okay?" I'm not here for the belt. Yeah, I would love to go to the next belt, but I don't want a sympathy belt. I want to know that like the color around my waist actually matters, right? I want to know that like it stands for something. And I've been vocal about this. This is I think the obsession. I mean, I get it from a human psyche standpoint. We want status. We want symbols of growth, but you don't get this with you don't get this with wrestlers, dude. Wrestlers want to be the toughest dude in the room, like period. Like, and they don't. And you get guys who will train for a decade with no physical indication of growth or status. That's something that I like. That I like. That's something I like about wrestling a lot. And I've never understood, and it hasn't been for reasons like not to get it. It's not like I blew through blue belt. I was a blue belt for almost 5 years. I was a purple belt for almost 5 years. And training regularly, and people would come, get promoted after me, advance to the next belt before me. I would hold my own with them and or beat them depending on the person. And I was like, I trusted the coach. I was like, dude, he's got, I certainly didn't complain to the coach, but I would ask him. I'd go to tournaments and say, hey, what are we looking for? Kind of feedback type thing. But it was in due time. And if I never once did it cross my mind to like leave a promotion ceremony and be like, well, that's it, I'm gonna quit. Like that's a how much, dude, that's childish. I mean, that's childhood at its finest. That's my son Landon throwing a temper tantrum because he didn't get what he's for. He didn't get what he wanted, and and because and here's the thing: if I understand getting up, not like getting overlooked for a promotion, because there's money tied to that, there's livelihood tied to that. I understand not getting a grade and like that thinking that you should and lobbying your case if let's say college, if I were to go there, because again that's like your success in your career allegedly, and it's tied to that, right? Like so like there's something to that. What is tied to your belt in jiu-jitsu other than status? There's no money. Like you're not getting paid for that new belt. It's just status. Like why did like think about someone else. Go help someone. Go help a white belt. Like get your mind off yourself for a little bit. That's kind of my take on it.
I just wanted to get better. My goal in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I wanted to get better and get. I just wanted to grow and become more knowledgeable in all areas. And everybody has a goal, and I think it's all right. Like we've been there, and you know, for whatever reason, you're training. At some point, you do. It would be nice to go to that next level and be validated for your hard work, right?
Sure.
So,
Of course. Of course.
yeah,
Of course.
so yeah, and you know what? But I think that if you're training jujitsu and you want to move up in the ranks, it's really important to understand that the biggest component of that is knowledge. You have to know the material, and there's so many like different variables and variations of like jujitsu, and so many different jiu-jitsu is like personalities. There's so many different personalities, and that's how many different like types of finishes of an armbar there is. It's not just one armbar. So many different places, and I think that if you focus on learning the different uh, pieces and parts of jujitsu, I think things will come together, and ultimately you'll feel like you deserve it even more. Because you could do an armbar doesn't mean the armbar. In the armbar, there's a lot of different ways to get to the armbar. There's a lot of different ways to finish the armbar, and it all comes back to knowledge. How much do you know? How much can you show?
Yeah, I mean, they the the quit rate is something. It's something that we try to overcome. We try to lower the barrier to it, but I and here's the difficult part: you can't even collect the data because people they would have to be honest with themselves in order to be honest with you. And I just think the majority are not. You know, I think the majority are not being honest with themselves of why they quit and why they do something like that. Like if you could be honest and be like, Coach, I'm just sick of waking up in pain every day. Like that's an honest answer. Like that's an honest answer. I'm sick of losing every day. I'm sick of like there are honest answers, but I think oh I just got busy. I can't make it anymore. Life
You
whatever.
know, I would say that the sick of losing every day is what it comes down to for a lot of the reasons why people quit. Because if you're losing every day, you're losing your matches, uh, like every day, day in, day out. You do want to feel like, oh my God, this works. You do want to feel like, oh my gosh, if I had to use this, I actually could defend myself. I could, perform. And I think a lot of it comes down to that handling not winning every single day is a tough place to go to for a living.
I
You have to
I
be a
I agree
special
with
type of
that.
person.
I agree with that. Yeah, and it's so individualist. You did say it's individual. It's expressive. I mean, they, you know, like you could go play if you play a team sport like pickleball, and your partner could carry you a little bit. Football, they could carry you a little bit. Baseball, they could carry you a little bit. Jiu-jitsu, you lost because you weren't good enough. Period. Period. Like that's who are you gonna blame? You know, who are you gonna blame? Um, so yeah,
And that's the beauty of, you know what, coach? That's the beauty of sports. I've coached students and athletes, and we both agreed after the match, after they lost, the best person didn't win. And it's not always about skill. And that's the beauty of like competing and doing matches. Many times people have lost, and we both agreed that the best person, the best athlete didn't win, the stronger person didn't win, the more technical person didn't win. And along with being able to show the moves in jiu-jitsu and perform, you have to be able to perform at the right time, at the right
yeah,
place, with the right timing.
yeah,
So some people with way less experience beat somebody much more advanced.
yeah,
Some people with way less experience will beat somebody bigger or heavier, not because they're stronger, not because they're more technical, because they understood the strategy of jiu-jitsu in a match. And it's not always, it's not about, it could be about many different things, but winning is not about being better all the time. It's about being better at the right moment and at the right time, and capitalizing on that. So uh, that's one of the beauties of like competing.
yeah. Oh yeah, competition. The skill of competition and yeah, it's like it's a totally different skill set. It's a totally different skill set.
Yeah, and competition also happens in the training room every day. So you get to practice competing at your home gym every day to prepare for a real competition. And people see all the time that they might do well against somebody because of the timing or the technique, not because they're better, not because they're stronger. And that goes into strategy of competing, strategy of Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
So I'm gonna leave with this last question. How do we? You know what's I'm gonna save it for next week. It's gonna be about karate. I'm gonna segue it into next week just because I'm getting tagged in a lot of karate posts. Yeah,
Karate.
yeah. Well, like Downriver and friends, they're like, I'm looking for karate, and I'm like, because I want my kid to learn self defense. Chad says,
I see his question here.
yeah, I was reading a 48-hour fast sheds inflammation and increases healing strength. In your experience, can you notice measurable benefits by doing it? Never missed a breakfast my whole life, but considering it, yeah, intermittent fasting has value. What do you, I mean,
Yeah, well,
Mohammed's certainly the authority on that in this room.
yeah. So I would first of all, I'd say that like I think Chad has he was, I think, 250 to 270, and I think he's down to like 220. And Chad is like 6 foot 5, very very large guy. So he's got the body frame of like Robert Ory. Jiu-jitsu people are probably not hip to Robert Ory, but he played basketball. He was a big guy, but he was very very lean. But saying that, Chad, uh, I personally don't do fast that long, but some of my clients and members that I work with through fasting, that it definitely reduces inflammation. Definitely. You can get in keto by reducing by going on fasts. Uh, and yeah, like the big one, inflammation. The I word is a great word, uh, because inflammation causes like aches, pains, fatigues. Inflammations will definitely cause like um, degenerative diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes. Those cells get inflamed, and some bad things happen. So Inflammation is it's a big anti-inflammatory, and it's also said that going on fast for long periods of time reduce more growth hormone, and they reduce the stress hormone cortisol. But there's a portion of the cortisol that is released that reduces inflammation in the body. So cortisol is a bad thing, but some of the cortisol that's released reduces the inflammation. It fights it off. And that's how it regulates the cortisol levels in your body. And you never miss a breakfast. I love breakfast.
Start with
Like
24 hour. Do a 24-hour fast, or do
yeah. And
16 and 8.
on the breakfast, Coach David knows if you want to get Professor Muhammad's attention, let's meet for food.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and breakfast is a morning, so we'll have it up for breakfast sometime.
All right, y'all. So, guys, go ahead and if you have any other comments, questions, hit them up, and we'll respond to them as we get back to them. And then we will, we'll look forward to seeing you at the Canton spot. You can't. It's kind of dark back here, but I'm in a massive room looking at the upper workout area right now. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see. Like the upper balcony is going to be up there with the weights and everything.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That is cool.
it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. But that's it. So that's this week's podcast. Next week we're having David Aguzzi on from Grappling Industries, and I'm going to talk some shop with him about the competition scene. So, as always, we'll see you guys on the mats.
On the mats.